This video, I'm going to share a little bit about the story of the ugly duckling. And I don't know if you can see them. The swans have now allowed the geese to come. So this story is for the misfits, the rebels, the exiles, the magic makers. Maybe it's twofold. The reason I want to share the story is because I was just away up north and I brought this book, Women Who Run with Wolves. So this is where I'm going to read part of it from. And Swan is about surrender, and it's September 2017 right now, and surrender is what we need to move from the ugly duckling to the graceful beauty of the adulthood. The ugly duckling theme is universal. All stories of the exile contain the same meaning, but each is surrounded by different backgrounds and cultural stories. The core meanings we are concerned with are: the duckling of the story is symbolic of the wild nature, which, when pressed into circumstances of little nurturing, instinctively strives to continue no matter what. The wild nature instinctively holds on and holds out, sometimes with style, other times with little grace, but holds on nevertheless. And thank goodness for that, for the wildish woman, duration is one of her greatest strengths. The other important aspect of the story is that when an individual's particular kind of soulfulness, which is both an instinctual and a spiritual identity, is surrounded by psychic acknowledgement and acceptance, that person feels life and power as never before. Asserting one's own psychic family brings a person vitality and belongingness. So the underlying theme of this is finding one's pack, belonging as a blessing. In the story, the various creatures of the village peer at the ugly duckling and in one way or another pronounce him unacceptable. He is not ugly in reality, but he does not match the others. He is so different that his looks look like a black bean in a bushel of green peas. The mother duck at first tries to defend this duckling whom she believes to be her offspring, but finally she is profoundly divided emotionally and withdraws from caring for the alien child. His siblings and others of his community fly at him, peck at him, torment him. They mean to chase him away, and the ugly duckling is heartbroken, really, to be rejected by his own. It's a terrible thing, especially since he did nothing to warrant it other than look different and act a little different. If you can still get the geese and the swans. I'll just bring it down now while I read the rest. If truth be told, we have here, before the creature is even half grown, a duckling with a massive psychological complex. Let us attend here to the inner issues of the exile, for when one develops adequate strength, not perfect strength, but moderate and serviceable strength in being oneself and finding what one belongs to, one can then influence the outer community and cultural consciousness in masterful ways. What is moderate strength? It is when the internal mother who mothers you isn't 100% confident about what to do next. 75% confident will do nicely. 75% is a goodly amount. Remember, we say that a flower is blooming whether it is half, 3/4, or in full bloom. And as she goes into this analyzing this story, she actually goes through different kinds of mothers. It's such an interesting read. The ambivalent mother, the collapsed mother, the child mother or the unmothered mother, the strong mother, the strong child. Frozen creativity, passing stranger, exile as boon. So it really spoke to me, and of course it's no coincidence that it finally comes, and it came today of all days to when I came home. There's quite a bit of betrayal in the spiritual community with one of my mentors, Doreen Virtue, and this is one of my Bibles, Animal Speak. And so if you've been following me at all, you know I've been capturing the swans. Not very well today, but I'm just sitting in the shade and getting what I can of them. But I have actually on my Marguerite Brigham YouTube, I've created a playlist. I think I have seven videos of the swan family from when they very first mated too, the mating dance, and the two swans put their necks together to make a heart. It was so beautiful. And now watching this family being raised, and symbolically of the harmony of now letting the Canadian geese be on this pond with them. But I digress because Doreen Virtue basically has denounced magic, and her story, you know, I can tell I'm a liberated woman, a wild woman here. I've never given up. That one line, like, is so me. About for the wildish woman, duration is one of her greatest strengths. So yes, I've been a wild child. I am a wild child. My surrender into spirit of what's next, I just say yes. You know, so be the expression. Having interviews of how people lean into love. Well, nature and living from an open heart, and that brings the magic. So I definitely want to interview people about keeping the magic alive. How do they express magic in their life? So I'll just share where, you know, she's renounced tarot and talked about demons in the spiritual community, filled with demons. That's why everyone is suffering. Oh man. And you know, she certified me as a fairyologist. So for me, I don't feel that betrayed, that I'm, you know, that we're all kicked out of her community now, because that's what happened to me last year. So as I'm asking people to share their stories, now this is one story I haven't really shared, well, definitely not publicly. I've shared a bit in my private Awaken Magic community of me being exiled from sisterhood last year. So this Ugly Duckling, as it's coming now with Doreen Virtue, showed me how much I've grown, because it was because of the fairies. So here I was on this one path for the longest time, duration. First started with yoga for golf, and then it went to golfing goddesses, and then a book connecting back to Mother Nature through the game, and, you know, the discipline of yoga for the mind game. And then I take pictures of fairies on my phone. So then I start the Awaken Magic community. Like I just did a whole reinvention of myself, right? So she's doing a reinvention of herself for Jesus. And because of my friend who I was living with, we were firekeepers together. We'd done moon circles together. One of the women who I started doing moon circles with 20 years ago, she actually was the last speaker of the Awaken Magic Summit, Isla Sisson. And because of my roommate, and you know, I may have alluded to it last year when I was like, you know, stay playful. Seriousness is a sickness. Well, I was going through it with her. And all of a sudden she had all these demands. Like, okay, yeah, so we lived together for 2 years and we ended up renting this house. So now it wasn't just me renting off of her. So all this control came up. You can't use the front door. I want you to live in the basement. Oh my. And then Isla took her side, didn't even ask for my side of the story because I ended up having to call the cops on her. All because I believed in magic and I was following my heart, finding my tribe. And so now here I am again with the betrayal, and a lot of people are. It's yeah, it's really interesting times. Really interesting times. So I don't know, the swans are gone, but you know, just their reflection. And now having a calm heart in the midst of all these storms, literally and figuratively, going on. So surrender is the key. That's where bliss lives. And you just let go, and yeah, more will be revealed, won't it? Big love.